Hello everyone. Today I got 3 more fantastic, heart-racing, adrenaline-pumping horror indie novels for you to check out. You know how much I like the indie horror novels. I have a bunch of books in my TBR, some bigger books. I actually picked up Holly from Stephen King. On the release day, I still haven't got to it. Because there's been so many requests coming in from indie authors wanting me to review their books, and I appreciate that, and I understand they're not going to, I mean, Stephen King's going to sell books no matter what, because he's Stephen King. But there are authors out there who are just as fantastic, and people just haven't heard of them, and that's why I like doing this kind of thing. And these 3 books are ones you're absolutely going to want to pick up, and I will tell you why. But first, as always, I want to remind you that I have books for sale, and if you want to read any of the books you see on your screen, they're only $1 each. There is a link in the description where you can do that. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called Live Wire by Kyle Toucher. This book is like a blend of science fiction mixed with some metaphysics, an occult story, some cosmic horror, and it all takes place in the New Mexico desert. What more do you really want out of a horror book? And this one is fantastic because I didn't know what to expect when I first started reading it, but it did exceed whatever it is I thought I was going to get. I absolutely love this book. And it's about a group of 4 people. They are kind of trapped in this gas station in the New Mexico desert because there's a storm. And it's a storm unlike any that they have ever seen before. And thunder and lightning and rain and a strange warm wind blowing despite all this, which should be impossible. And it's such that the roads are impassable, and so they find themselves all at the center of the storm inside this gas station in the New Mexico desert. And then they see things that are absolutely impossible, things that should not be happening. These big electrical transformer poles and lines, they start coming to life. They wrench themselves out of the ground. They start marching down the street, causing the road to just crumble and crash. Big half-mile long transformers doing the same thing as if they are sentient, as if these inanimate objects have come to life. And they're huge and they're powerful, and of course they have all this electricity running through them, making them very dangerous. But in the meantime, we're going to find out exactly why these things are, because at an astronomy place, like a big telescope in the New Mexico area where they are, there's a team of scientists who are there to observe a sun flare, kind of. That's what they're supposed to be there for. But come to find out, the leader, the main guy in charge of this group, he has much more evil plans because he has found something to bring old gods into this world, and it requires a lot of power. So of course this lab and this telescope is the best place to perform a certain ritual to bring these gods to life, and they will inhabit the earth through the electricity, through these big towers and through these big transformers, and unleash hell upon the earth. Now, while you might be thinking this sounds like a cheesy B movie, and you know it could be a little bit of a you know yuck yuck kind of thing, this is a very serious book, and it's very, very terrifying. Because there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of angst, there's a lot of back and forth between the characters. Certain characters, you know, they're in relationships and things, and it's just fantastic. I got to tell you, man, the action sequences in here are great. The occult angle is absolutely perfect. It will keep your interest, it will scare you, and I highly, highly recommend it. There is a link down below where you can pre-order your copy, and you should absolutely do that. And next we have Sledge by Nick Horvath. This is actually called Sledge versus the Labyrinth. This is a throwback novel. This is a gritty, bloody, extremely violent, noir-ish kind of novel about this guy named Sledge, and Sledge is 6'10". He is a monstrous man, and he deals in violence. Violence has been his whole life. He doesn't like guns though. He prefers his trusty old sledgehammer, because you know what the saying goes, if you want to make an omelet, you're going to have to crush a few skulls with a sledgehammer. I think that's how that saying goes. But he's got his big old sledgehammer, and he prefers that and his fists to any kind of other weapons. He may not be the smartest guy in the world. He's certainly not stealthy. He makes a lot of noise like a bull running through a china shop, you know. But he is the ultimate anti-hero, because you can't help but love this guy and his reasons for doing things, even though they might be messed up. And of course, he leaves a trail of bodies wherever he goes. And one day a female friend of his approaches him saying that she has been targeted by this dark web group calling themselves the Labyrinth. And the Labyrinth is a group of hitmen and assassins, basically, that for a certain amount of money will intimidate somebody and then keep going down this list where things just get more horrible and vicious and brutal and all that good stuff, including up until death by torture. And every time they fulfill one of these contracts, they get paid by this little online dark web group. It's almost like a game to them, like these are achievements they get. And the worse things they do, the more money they get and the more points they get on this dark website. It's really sick and twisted, and she has been targeted. So he and his best faithful friend, they decide to go and investigate, try to find out who is doing this. And he's going to find them. And there is just going to be extremely violent carnage that ensues, in a very good way, I might add. I mean, some of the ways people get killed in this book are just fantastic. And there's enough blood in here to fill a swimming pool, I'm telling you. And we're going to meet characters, and we're going to come up on situations, and the story's going to weave in and out. At the end, we got a couple little twists in there even. And it's just great. That's all I can tell you. This is a very violent book. People are going to be getting killed left and right, and they're going to find themselves in danger at around every single corner as they go to figure out what exactly is going on and how to get to this labyrinth and how to stop it. And the thing about this book is that these chapters are all short. They're very sharp, very well written in that noirish kind of way, you know, makes them easy to read. And at the end of each chapter is almost like this little cliffhanger, kind of forcing you to go one more chapter. You know the ritual. Just one more chapter, and 3 hours later, you're still sitting there reading. This is the effect that book had on me. I just couldn't wait to find out exactly what the labyrinth was, why they are targeting these people, and all the different various creative ways that Sledge is going to go about doing what he does best, which is cracking skulls, taking names, and leaving body parts in his wake. And it's a fantastic book. I absolutely loved it. Cannot recommend it enough. It's the beginning of a series, and I am always looking forward to more Sledge. And as always, the pre-order link is in the description. And next we have, oh man, The Last Day by Sean Barber. He describes it as Groundhog Day meets 28 days later. And I think that's a fantastic way to put it. Except these are not zombies. I want to emphasize that. The creatures in here are not zombies. This is about a man who goes to his high school reunion one day. He spends the night at a hotel in his hometown, hooks up with a chick he used to know in high school, and he wakes up the next day and she's saying, oh, you know, this was a one-time thing. I've always wanted to do this, but I love my husband. And he's like, yeah, I know. They have a conversation and she leaves. And he checks out of his hotel room, goes to drive on home, and he gets murdered horrifically inside of a coffee shop, which you'll have to read about. And then he wakes up, and he's back at the beginning of that day, lying in his bed with this woman by his side, going through saying the same thing. But she loves her husband. It was a one-time thing. And he's confused because he knows he's died. He felt it. He knew. Was it a dream? What's going on? And the thing is, he loops this day over and over and over. And every time he wakes up in that exact same spot, but he remembers things from the day before. But each new day brings a new kind of horror, because he tries different things to figure out exactly why all these people are dying. Why these people that he calls the yellow eyes, because their eyes glow yellow. They giggle, they laugh as they commit the most atrocious, horrific violence upon anybody or anything they can find, with no remorse and no mercy. And if you want to talk about, trigger warnings, whatever, this one's going to have some, because once a person is infected and they become these yellow-eyed people, nobody is safe. Men, women, children, even animals are all going to be gruesomely and bloodily mangled and killed in this book, to show how vicious it is. And during the course of his looping this same day over and over, he's going to discover some things, and yet he always dies. No matter what he does, he's always a victim of these yellow eyes, or at one point he becomes a yellow eye himself, and he begins to understand, oh, this is why they're doing this, because to him it feels good. The best feeling in the world is violence for the sake of violence, and it feels right and it feels normal, and he gets infected and he goes on his own killing spree before he's eventually killed, and then starts all over again. So he's figuring all this out, but the thing is he trapped? Is there any way to stop this? Every day he starts out, either he's going to die or he's going to turn and become this bloody, violent creature, and he doesn't like either scenario. So what exactly is going on? Who's behind these yellow eyes? What's the cause of all this? That's the things you're going to have to read this book to find out. But man, it is very effective. I love the whole concept of this story. The fact that he's going through the same day over and over, but it's just going to end so bloodily and brutally for everybody, no matter what he does. And he does try different things. He tries walking, he tries hiding, he tries going to different places, he tries driving. Nothing works. He either ends up dead or winds up as one of these bloodthirsty killing machines. And I absolutely loved it. It's fantastic. You guys got to check it out for yourself. I'm telling you, there is a link down below where you can purchase your copy of The Last Day, and I highly, highly recommend it. So there you have 3 more indie horror books I think you will enjoy. They're all fantastic. They're all worthy of your attention. Check out the links and pick them up. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.